Welcome back, everyone. 2022 seems like a very good year to try out vegetarian meals at least once a week. Healthy for the body, but also healthier on our wallets. Like, Julie is back to finish the daily dish, but Julie, first we have to talk about the rising cost of meat. It is insane. Just take a look at this. And look at how high the prices are now. The other day, my husband went to one of our favorite burger joints, and the combo was just under $20. I was like, what? So what's going on? Farmers say feed, seed, fuel, and fertilizer costs have gone up by 30%, up to 30%. So, Jules, we both have kids. We both know that the average grocery bill is no joke. So are you planning to eat more vegetarian or at least vegetable-based meals this year? And what tips can you share with us?
So I'm a single mother of two boys. So I've been reducing my meat intake for years now. And, you know, for the purpose of health, but also for the purpose of budget. So one thing I do is reduce the portion size per person of meat. So that's the first way. So what that means is you can make an extra side to kind of supplement, you know, the loss of the portion of meat. So that works pretty well because you can buy less meat. The next thing I do is I'll add something like beans to ground beef to just kind of beef up the volume of the dish and also, you know, increase the nutrients as well. So that's another tip. The other thing we do is I actually have incorporated a lot more fish as the main. We've been eating a lot more fish. And the last thing that I try to do is I just explore other ingredients. So we have to get away from this idea that the meat has to be the main part of the dish. There's so many great dishes where meat is not the focus, like the dish I'm about to make for you here. Mushrooms, for example, it's an ingredient that is really, really meaty and really satisfying. So I think in those techniques, you can really reduce the cost of meat on your grocery bill.
These are like really, really good tips. I love it. And speaking of delicious meals, let's finish our daily dish. So here's what you'll need for Julie's marsala mushrooms. You need some unsalted butter, cremini mushrooms, shallots, garlic broth, marsala wine, some heavy cream, and some fresh thyme and parsley. It sounds so decadent. Where do we start, Jules?
Okay, so I'm at the point where I've already melted the butter, so about 3 tablespoons of butter. And then you're going to add in your cremini mushrooms into the sizzling pan.
Okay, you love the cremini mushrooms for this recipe. Why is that?
So I love cremini mushrooms because, most importantly, they're accessible. They may go by other names at the grocery store, such as like gourmet brown, but I love the flavor of them. And if you're not able to find the cremini mushrooms, I mean, I couldn't find a lot of them at the grocery store last night. So what I did is I bought shiitake and I put in some shiitake mushrooms with the cremini. Also very, very delicious. So I'm at the point right now where I added in the mushrooms and I browned them in the butter. And then after about 1 minute to 2 minutes, you'll see that the mushrooms are going to start to wilt and get brown. And then, you know, a few more minutes is going to go by and you're going to add in the shallots and the garlic. And I'm at a point now where I can actually start my sauce. So for the sauce, we're going to be using a herb, but we're going to be using thyme. And I have a little hack that I want to show you guys, because you know how thyme, if you need a lot of it, it's like a pain to get off the little branches. I saw this hack online and I thought it was so cool. So basically you get like a little sieve and you poke the branch through the sieve. You pull it through and it takes all the leaves off the thyme.
That makes sense to me. So it does the removing of the leaves for you.
Yes. Also a fun activity for kids, so they can help you. So I'm going to go ahead and add the thyme. I always like to look for ways that the kids can be incorporated. That's kind of my thing. So added the thyme. We're going to add the chicken broth. Then we're going to add the marsala wine. And if you can't find marsala, a dry sherry or a port also works well. Put the heat back up here. And then I'm going to add a 1/3 cup of heavy, so I use heavy whipping cream, which is 35%. Then you can add a little bit of salt and pepper and stir it around, bring it back up to a boil, and then reduce the heat. And what you're going to do is you're going to simmer this for about 10 to 15 minutes, and it's just until the liquid has reduced by half and the sauce is nice and creamy.
Now, there are probably some people at home that are thinking, I want to just not use the marsala wine at all. Would you just say stick with the broth
Yep.
and the whipped cream, and that's good enough?
Yes, it will be absolutely delicious without the marsala wine. I wanted to make another note. If you want it to be a true vegetarian dish, you can use vegetable stock instead of chicken stock or beef stock.
Good stuff.
You can add some fresh cut parsley just to like liven up the dish, you know what I mean? And that just brightens everything up and completes the dish, adds a really nice garnish. The polenta is nicely in the dish, and I'm just going to get my marsala mushrooms and just put them on top. That's it.
This is such a beautiful meal,
Yes.
and it's filling, and it's hearty, and it's going to taste good, and it's simply made. So, Jules,
Yes.
thank you for that.